There's a few. Here we go. Have a raspberry. My name is Leslie Altman. I'm a watercolor painter. As a small child, when I was in third grade, we had a teacher come to our school, and she brought clay with her, and we were supposed to make something out of this piece of clay. I didn't know what to do, and I took the ball of clay and rolled it up and stuck two eyes in it and stuck a nose in it and scratched out a smile. And the teacher's response to it was, "You really don't have any talent. I think you should probably try music." In fact, I held on to that piece of clay for a long time. I don't have it anymore, and every time I looked at it, it was a reproach, saying, "Don't do this because you can't do this." So I did not take an art class. I did not actually take the introductory art history class in my college, which was famous, because art was not for me, and didn't pick up a brush until my friend invited me to come to her class, and that was 12 years ago. She thought I would enjoy it. And I said, okay, I'll do that. And I started painting watercolor, and I fell in love. It's been a journey. I have a sample of the thing that I painted from her first class, which is not exactly elegant. The teacher said it would be a good idea to hold on to it so I could see if I was making any progress. And this is something that I painted about 2 years ago. So I think I am making some progress. And I owe everything that I can do to my teachers, who've all been wonderful. This is something that came from a class with Elizabeth Pratt, who is no longer with us, who taught me about texture, getting texture in watercolor, which was a fun thing. So this painting I did with Robert Mesrop, and it shows the boldness that you get when you use dark colors in contrast with white colors. It makes it exciting, and that's what makes this painting work for me. Whereas this one is fairly straightforward. What makes this painting interesting is the texture in the background, which is courtesy of Anne Hart, who taught a lot about pouring paint and about making textures in the backgrounds before you do the foregrounds. Another example of the influence of a teacher is Mary Wojciechowski, who does a lot of interesting background painting with splattering. And my sea turtle is one of my favorite more recent paintings. I mean, there's lots of people that I've learned from that are local teachers, because I'm a blank canvas, so to speak. I am influenced by all of the teachers that I've had. Generally speaking, what I do is I paint from photographs. I've tried painting in plein air, but it's difficult with watercolor. The humidity, the temperature, all affects how quickly the paint dries. One of my teachers, Robert Mesrop, said that unlike other forms of other media, there's, of course, line and value and composition and all those elements, color, that come into other art. But in watercolor, there's also the element of time. I've kept this so that people can see how I work, because people don't understand that watercolor is not like other forms of painting, where you want to have something light, you have to leave it light. You can't paint over it and paint the highlights in afterwards. So I took this photo of these folks at the Brewster Country Store, and I asked them permission. They said sure. They didn't know that they would be on live TV. And then I did a painting, of the first draft of a painting. And when I looked at it, I realized that I'd made the trash can more important than it needs to be. It doesn't need to be there just because it's in the photograph. It doesn't have to be in the painting, and because it's the lightest light next to the darkest dark, it draws your eye, so that's the end of that. What, kitty, what? What do you want? You poor thing. I know, you're all right. She hears me talking, she wants to be with me. She's my faithful companion. She loves to drink my paint water. I was on a painting trip with my first teacher in Maine, and there was a white house that we were painting on plein air, and I thought, how do you paint a white house? The paper's white already. And so I watched, and I saw the grays and the blues and the yellows that were in that white that I wouldn't have seen if I hadn't watched her doing that. So you learn a lot by watching other people. The white of the snow on the roof is just too white, not real. One of the things I've learned about painting, from painting, is that I see color much more clearly than I did before. Before, when I first started, someone would talk about seeing purple, and I didn't see any purple. I just saw brown or gray. But as I've trained my eye to see color more clearly, then I now see purple when I didn't before. If I look at snow, I don't see white. I see all the colors of the rainbow that are being reflected from what's in the area. So that's made my life richer because I see better. So this is my favorite picture, but this is a print of the picture. I've learned my lesson. I am not selling the original. It's in my house, and if anybody wants the print, they can have it. That is right in this neighborhood. Bone Hill Road is an Audubon sanctuary down at 6A. I'm terrified by a white canvas. Isn't everybody? But if I have something that I want to express, if I have an idea in my mind, or if I have a feeling that I want to express through the painting, then I have to dig in and do it. The worst that could happen is that I would add to my stash of things to throw away, or turn the paper over. I've often said that somebody who purchases something that I've painted probably gets two things, one on each side. So that's because the one on the other side isn't that good. Come here. Come here. Ah. So one thing that I've done is I've done an experiment. I am not a pastel painter, but there was a one afternoon workshop at the Cultural Center. It said, paint your pet in pastel. So I painted my pet in pastel. There she is. I don't like pastel, but I enjoyed the process. I've taken a sommelier class. That's fun, and it's quick, and I love that. It's unlike going back and going back. You just do it. My first teacher told a story that I love about a man who commissioned a painting of a fish from a sommelier painter. And the painter said he would do it, and the patron waited, and a month later said, so how are we coming on my fish? And the painter said, it's coming. And a month later he came and said, how are we doing on my fish? And the painter said, it's coming. And then finally he showed up at the studio and said, okay, so where's my fish? What's taking so long? And the sommelier painter put down a piece of rice paper, took his brush, drew a fish, and said, here's your fish. And the customer said, if it's that easy, what took you so long? He said, follow me, walked into his studio, opened a door, and 1,000 paintings of fish fell out. So the lesson there is that the more you do it, the better you get, I guess. Or at least you won't get any better if you don't keep trying.